today's episode of This Week in AI with Graham Rosenberg. How you doing today, Graham?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. It's been a busy week, but not nothing to complain about. It's been good. Lots of announcements on the AI front, as always. I'm sure you've got a few things to share. So, what's top of mind for you this afternoon?
Yeah, the big one that was announced sometime in the last week is Anthropic uh, signed the EU AI Act, or said they're going to honor the EU AI Act, which means that they have to watermark all of their content.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
so essentially, what that means is there are ways to tell if Anthropic created the content or not. It's not like fully watermarked with like special characters or anything like that. They uh, basically choose the words that they choose in their responses or in the text that they generate um, can be plugged into an algorithm and basically said, "Yep, our models created this," or "Our models did not create this." And
Wow.
because it's a EU kind of mandate, most of the other players are likely going to be doing the same thing. OpenAI and Gemini and all the other ones, but Anthropic is the only one that has publicly come out and said any new model since beginning of August will have this baked in, and they're going to retrofit all the previous models. An example that they used in their public announcement is, you know, it won't take away from the text that's generated. It's gonna, instead of saying something's overcast, they might call the sky gray or vice versa. Like it's word choice that's going to change a little bit, but the structure of everything is going to remain the same.
That's
So it's
awesome.
going to be super interesting. I mean, it makes me a little uneasy, but I understand where it's coming from, especially as we move more and more into like things being deep fakes. And I think having regulation around AI generated content is important, but in terms of, intellectual property, and it's going to be interesting to see how that transpires in the future when Anthropic or any large language model is going to be like, hey, this piece of software, uh, it's our code. We generated this code. It's gonna open up Pandora's box a little bit.
Yeah. It is interesting, although I'm kind of here for obviously the rules are only followed by those who agree to play by the rules, but I am here for the AI generated content by default having watermarks and then working to make those watermarks hard to remove and subtle and deeply embedded. I mean, it's like having conversations with my 13-year-old. We're watching YouTube and we're always debating whether the shorts we're seeing on YouTube are real or are AI generated. And it's a weird world to live in, and I'm not sure this solves it, but it might give us a little bit more context sometimes. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, no, I'm definitely for it more than I'm against it, but I think it's a slippery slope once you can start watermarking some of this stuff.
yeah, it definitely is. Interesting.
Yeah. Another update that I think is a welcomed one because it has bitten me multiple times is Microsoft's Copilot apps. They have a consumer version of the Copilot app and an M365 Copilot app.
Yep.
They're combining them down into a single app
Oh, that's
this
great.
week, actually. I can't tell you, I have both apps on my phone. I can't tell you the number of times I've opened the wrong one. And so it's pretty cool. And they're going to let you inside of the single app switch between your work account and your personal account, which is cool. It's something that I struggle with all my AI apps. There's no option to switch between work and personal. So a lot of times I usually work out of a web browser in one and the app in the other. So it's cool to see Microsoft leading, kind of being first to the market on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's also good because it's putting some of that onus back on the end users to pay attention to where they're at and kind of choose that context. And that's a piece of education and thought we need to build into AI users.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, cool to see. Another big piece of news: OpenAI came out and announced this week that they are slowing their roll on their latest frontier models in terms of development, which is the first time I've seen a major lab kind of say, hey, we are kind of pumping the brakes on some of this stuff and purposefully slowing the development. I'm sure a lot of this has come out of kind of the Hugging Face breach that we talked about a couple weeks back. Um, but they realize that they need to be able to be in control of some of these things, and they probably have some policy and some frameworks to develop before they continue on the development path.
I wonder how much they're also hoping that they all start to kind of get in line and say, let's stop the arms race and give each other, because there is some level of it's competition. Oh, I got my new model. I got my new model. And maybe their hope is to kind of throw a little bit of a truce out there and say, let's all slow our roll and just do more work to, improve this code and make sure it's safe. So hopefully it leads to some more responsible AI releasing patterns.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Um, totally agree on that. It's you know, we've talked about the last few weeks just how scary it is that these AI labs are kind of losing control of the models and sandbox environments and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I got a story that kind of builds on top of that. I don't know if you saw, but Anthropic figured out that when they have multiple agents that are given the same task, they sabotage and disable each other when they can. So they're
Interesting.
learning that like you get agents and you have them competing against each other, they very quickly figure out how to get in front of each other. And I was just thinking it just feels like Lord of the Flies. These are very kind of low level intelligence AI agents, and what do they default to is just like they pick up a stick and start fighting as soon as they have the same goal. It's really interesting to me. So kind of brings in a interesting thought though, as an IT department or a company really trying to set their AI agenda. You got people like you building agents, and what if you had two departments that built the same agent and didn't communicate well, and now these agents are fighting in the back end in a space you can't see because you haven't designed it well. um, it's just a fascinating set of new variables we never had to deal with before.
Yeah, it's like intelligent race conditions.
Yeah, that's a really good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, super, super interesting. Um, yeah, especially if you don't have proper prompts or proper guardrails around it, if they're just trying to achieve the task any means necessary. Uh, yeah, super, super interesting. It's like, how do you get rid of the virus? Oh, just format C, it's gone, you know?
Right? That's right? Exactly.
Yeah, super interesting. Um, never boring,
No.
that's for sure.
Do you see the story out of Microsoft where some security researchers, and this started earlier in the year, they're just announcing it now. This has been going on for about 9 months, but the security researcher figured out that if they talked to Copilot long enough, Copilot revealed some of the threat vectors that it's required to not allow to happen. And so they just kind of kept dancing around the edge of they knew they figured out there was something that Microsoft was not allowing. And the more they got into it, the more they realized that there was not only something Microsoft had prevented through some of their coding, that they then asked AI to tell them how to bypass, and AI told them how to do it. But then they figured out there was a follow-on command, and basically it allowed them to Copilot eventually disclosed the undocumented parameters, and then they use those parameters to get AI to run automatically. So effectively, they figured out how to use these undocumented parameters to create a scenario where, like, a browser could trigger Copilot to run automatically. This was patched already, so it was released. They figured it out. They disclosed it responsibly to Microsoft. They've already patched it, but of course, these security researchers need these moments to kind of show off what they've done. And kind of that's what they're there for. And so they're now publishing an article about it, and it's fascinating to see that these AI models can be talked into, can kind of be coerced into telling you things they're not supposed to talk about, by dancing around the edge of it enough. And just a fascinating story.
Wow, I did not see that. That is super, super fascinating. Kind of reminds me of, I think it was Opus 4.6 that someone was able to kind of talk to it enough that it finally gave out its system prompt. And you can kind of see what Anthropic puts over the top of every single prompt. Um, yeah, super, super interesting. It's funny whenever we roll out an agent internally, and I give some people beta access to it. We log everything so we can kind of see the interactions. And over half the time, people are trying to hack these things, and I think it's just kind of
Amazing.
uh, in human nature a little bit. Like, I wonder
Uh-huh.
how far I can take this thing, and I wonder what I can make this agent do. Um,
Yeah.
it's just like you have to think about prompt injection and how you secure these things up front. Um, Also reminds me another story. This was a few months back that when Chipotle rolled out their AI agent for ordering, uh, they didn't have any safeguards in there, and it was running Opus behind the scenes, and you were able to ask it any question and basically use it as your own personal Claude at that point. Help me write a script to, reboot a computer every day at 7 p.m. And Chipotle would tell you how to do it.
That's hilarious. They were funding your Claude habit through their
Yeah,
corporate account.
yeah,
It's amazing.
exactly.
That's wild. I would immediately said, "Hey, how do I get a free burrito out of you? Let's go."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Give me a coupon code or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing I was going to mention was I noticed that Copilot had a new UI, has a UI refresh, and it's interesting to see that happening. I think Claude's doing a lot of that as well right now, where things are just moving around in the UI, and I'm finding things are getting a little bit more utilitarian, or they're kind of cleaning, simplifying things. What do you think of the new UIs in Okta? I'm sorry, not Okta, in Copilot and Claude?
Yeah, they're pretty similar now. Like, they're
They
almost the
are.
exact same UI, which is helpful. Um, a couple months ago, when they did their new UI in the Office apps, me as someone who's in this stuff every single day, it confused me. Like when they moved the Copilot button down in the bottom right hand corner and out of the
Yes.
toolbar in the top right,
Yes.
uh, it confused me, and it took me a second to kind of get come to grasp with it. Another piece was the UIs were not cohesive from tool to tool. So like Copilot in Teams was the old UI, whereas Copilot on the web is the new UI, and the Copilot desktop app, it's a coin flip of which one it was. And as someone who does a lot of Copilot trainings, it be, it's a little difficult to train when you have multiple UIs. But I will say they're moving the right direction. I really enjoy the way the new UI is. It's co-work is very apparent in front and center now, which I think is very purposeful on their front.
Yes.
Trying to get people to get use co-work, talk to their IT departments about getting co-work credits, kind of those types of things. Um, yeah, it seems like Copilot in general is going through a bit of a rebrand. They're changing their logo. I saw recently changing some of like their motion graphics a little bit. Uh, but like you said, definitely a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
Things are just uh, more. I don't even know how to describe it, but fluid and intentional. It seems like.
Yeah, I do think Anthropic's pushing them, whether they would want to admit it or not. I think Anthropic's making some big inroads in the small business and enterprise space, and I'm guessing that they're just really wanting to take away those incentives to look at another product, which is great. That's the advantage of competitive pressure in the industry. We all get better tools, so I'm here for it. But it is interesting to see maybe the fastest developing product I've ever seen from Microsoft, where their normal release cycles have been compressed in staggering ways while they're trying to keep up with, a startup that's just releasing staggering new features on a weekly basis. It's forcing companies like Microsoft to really pivot to keep up.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Uh, but like you said, I'm here for it. Like I'm always here for all the new features and get them all integrated. And let's see how far we can take this thing.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks, Graham. Always fun. We'll catch you next week. I think we've got one episode next week where we're going to do our normal This Week in AI. That's on Tuesday, the 25th at 4 o'clock Mountain. And then the week after, on Tuesday, September 1st at 2 o'clock Mountain Time, we are doing a full, probably 30-minute or so episode on AI FinOps, start talking about co-work and all of the challenges that we find um, from that set of tools and managing spending and budgets and alerting and the whole nine yards in a Microsoft ecosystem, especially. So, really looking forward to that conversation. So, tune in for that one. And we look forward to catching everybody on the next episode of This Week in AI. And thanks for your time today, Graham.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.